Hi, I'm Tricia with Abounding in Hope with Lyme. Thanks for joining me on this video. Before we get started, would you please hit like and subscribe and then share the episode when you're done if you like it? That would help me a lot. I can be found on aboundinginhopewithlyme.com, where I share a lot of great information about Lyme disease, co-infections, homeschooling with chronic illness, and even faith-based encouragement for those of you who are struggling with a long-term chronic illness. I also have a great e-course called Help, I Found a Tick, and that will help navigate what to do to prevent tick bites, how to treat them should you find them, and what to do if you think maybe you have contracted a tick-borne disease. So make sure you go grab that resource. It's the perfect time for it. Okay, so thanks for joining me today, and just enjoy this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.
Hey. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to introduce you to my personal friend and my health coach, Cara Dodson. Cara is a Maryland licensed occupational therapist and internationally certified nutrition health coach. She's spent years trying to figure out the health and wellness system and has been on quite the journey. And I remember some of that. From constant fad dieting, endless fatigue and bloat, gut imbalances, sleep issues, mood swings, hair loss, inconsistent periods, and way too many doctor's appointments to even count. And most of us Lymies can totally understand that. So this is one of the reasons why she's so passionate about helping women regain their health. Her mission is to free as many women as possible from food obsession, help them restore their metabolisms with root cause healing, heal their relationship with their bodies and self, restore their gut health and imbalances, reduce their internal and external stress, increase empowerment with their bodies, balance their hormones, and build energized and healthy bodies in a way that looks best for them. Whew, that's a lot.
A mouthful.
And true story, I've known Cara and her family since she was a young girl, and I've been personally working with her as my health coach for the past 6 months. So Yay. Cara is amazing. She's exciting. She has so much energy. She's vibrant. I just love her. And we have more fun talking on our health calls than I've ever had before with anyone. So it's been great. But last year, I saw on your Instagram, you were posting about intermittent fasting. And you were sharing some things that really piqued my interest. And I was kind of like, she's not right.
Everyone is, right?
First, I was like, no way, that's completely opposite from what everyone else is saying. And so she was sharing things like, you know, that intermittent fasting is a stressor on your body. You were sharing, I should say, and that it's a stressor on your body that's really hard, that it actually causes things like the fatigue and the muscle aches and basically all the symptoms I was having, which I thought, because I'm postmenopausal, that I'm having these issues. It's just natural. You know, maybe one day I'll get through it. So I reached out to you about it and we dialogued a little bit. And I was just so fascinated because my story is that I have always skipped breakfast. Like even from the time I remember in high school, I would get up in the morning, dart off to high school, not eat until lunchtime. No wonder I couldn't think. And so when we talked, you know, you were like, well, the first thing you have to do is start eating breakfast, which I rebelled against a little bit, right?
I remember.
Yeah. So can you just talk a little bit about intermittent fasting and especially what that does to someone who has a chronic health condition like I do and like my audience does?
Oh, my intermittent fasting is it's a toughie, right? You know, we're taught that it's such a beneficial thing for us. And, you know, there has been some research on the benefits of its increasing longevity, I will say. But in all reality, okay, let's just be realistic and sustainable and thinking about our biology. You can easily increase your longevity by making lifestyle changes and dietary changes. So the pros and the cons just don't align for me. And so, you know, if we have to dial it back down, intermittent fasting from what we've all been told is, oh, it will help you burn the fat cells, like burn weight loss. It's all about the weight loss, right? And that's what kind of piques our interest. And you know, honestly, it's so detrimental for our biology and for our physiology. And why? Biggest reason is because you're starving your body of nutrients, okay? And from what I typically see people doing is, like you were saying, skipping breakfast, fasting all the way into sometimes lunch, sometimes even snack into dinner.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild.
Yeah, I've done that.
And yes, amen. I have actually done that too. Not even just thinking about, oh, I'm going to fast, but I wasn't hungry.
Right.
Wasn't even hungry. And so when people wake up after a long sleep, hopefully a good sleep, right? They go into this other fast. Okay. So you're not eating for 8 hours for sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're jumping into this fast, which is another 5, 6, 7, 8, hopefully not 10 hours. And you're just not giving your body the nutrients that it needs to be able to perform its functions in a day. And so when your body senses a lessened amount of nourishment or nutrients or fuel coming from bioavailable sources and nutrient dense sources, it's going to sense a famine, and it's going to approach that via a stress response, which is what we don't want. Mm-hmm. Oh, less stress always. So what happens with that is cortisol and adrenaline, it reacts in a protective way. Honestly, the body is so beautiful. It's made in a way to always protect us. I mean, 100%. Everything that it does wants to help us. So it responds by striking up those stress hormone response and then releasing cortisol and adrenaline into the body. And it's a stress response for protective reasons in order to try to maintain homeostasis. Try to maintain that balance in the body. And when that happens, it reduces all of the body's functions. It takes away blood from the non-essential organs, and unfortunately, digestion is not essential. Thyroid function is not essential. Hormones aren't essential. There are a lot of things that just aren't essential anymore. Interestingly enough, the body can't tell one stress from another. It's always going to react the same way, which a lot of people just don't even realize.
Right.
You could be sitting at your desk having a horrible day at work and you're stressed, or you could be running away from a bear. The stress is still the same and the body is going to react the same. And so it really wants to prioritize getting away from that stressor. And so those influx of stress hormones shunts blood away, like I was seeing, away from those awesome organs that need nourishment and oxygen and nutrients from the blood, and shoots it to your extremities, shoots it to your heart, your lungs. It wants to get away, right? Mm-hmm. And so this stress comes from malnourishment. This vicious cycle. It's just wild. So not giving your body that consistency, that safety, that nourishment, that fuel sends up those stress hormones, which just, all sorts of havoc. All sorts
and
of
that
havoc
just
on
makes
the body.
it so much harder to heal from any chronic issues because your body doesn't have what it needs to do the healing, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the first things I noticed. It took me a month to eat a full breakfast. Like I had to start with a little tiny bite, and then the next day a little bit more. And it literally took me a month to eat as much as you were telling me. And I kept telling my husband, this is a lot of food. It was so hard. But then what I noticed after a month was I didn't have joint pain. I didn't have muscle pain. I wasn't fatigued. I didn't have brain fog. Like I could remember things, and it was like, whoa, I felt like something lifted off of my brain after just adding breakfast. And so that was like so transformational for me. And I was just like, there is something to this, because a lot of people who suffer from Lyme disease or other chronic issues think that all their symptoms are from that disease, when in reality, if you're not nourishing properly, maybe it's because you're starving yourself. And that's what I was doing.
100%, 100%. And, having a chronic illness is a stressor in itself, and I think people forget that, they're so wrapped up in, I have this illness, and they forget that they have to support that illness.
Mm-hmm.
And any stress actually requires more nutrients, more minerals, more vitamins, more protein, fat, and carb. So any kind of restriction is, by far, that's the first thing I like to just nip in the butt,
Mm-hmm.
just to support that body so it can do what it naturally needs to do to get you guys functioning and moving and healing. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And the other thing I forgot to mention was when we started, it was like, was it the fall or right around when the winter was coming? And that's my hardest time of year, when I'm freezing and everything hurts. And I was warm. Like, I'm walking around the winter with like short sleeve shirts on. And my husband's like, you have never done that since I've known you. Usually I'm like piling on the jackets and, layering the clothes. And, it was really cool to be able to go outside in the winter and not feel like I couldn't handle it. It was such a great benefit of, eating breakfast, even though it was difficult.
Well, you know what? It all goes back to your metabolism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being cold all the time is a very direct link to having a sluggish metabolism. And so as you start nourishing and as you start giving your body what it needs to function, your metabolism starts to slowly kick in, right? And it's starting to utilize the food properly. That's what we want. We want our bodies to be able to use what we give it. And that utilization of energy and that making of energy and taking the fuel and using it builds up that temperature. And that is what gets you that strong metabolism. It's just fabulous. So amen for you. You are rocking it. I love it.
It was awesome. I have to admit to my audience, though, I did fight against a lot of things that you would say, right? But then once I wrapped my mind around it, and the thing that I needed to do was I needed to like sit down and go, okay, 30 grams of protein, what does that even look like? So I had to look it up and figure out, what does that visually look like, so that I could actually plan my meals out, because without planning, then it's just easy to not eat, or, to not eat the right thing. So, so I really I had to do a lot of planning. But it was great. Cara, she created a Pinterest board for me, and that was really awesome. That was very helpful. And I learned to make some new things, and tried like cottage cheese again for the first time in years. And I actually liked it. I was like, I am not going to eat cottage cheese. That's disgusting. But now it's turned
so many people over to the cottage cheese side.
Yeah. But with Lyme, I had given up dairy. I had given up a lot of carbs. I had given up things that would help give me energy. And so also my mindset, I had to shift the way that I thought about these foods, because to go back to eating dairy, however, I did, I'm drinking raw milk, which I hadn't done, since I was a kid. I grew up on raw milk, but, but to incorporate some of these dairy products was really kind of like mind boggling for me, because I equate dairy with inflammation, or dairy, with pain, and it didn't happen. Like, I didn't have the pain. It went away, so that was like really cool for me. So when you're working with your clients, and I know because I've worked with you, but just in general with your other clients, how do you help them change their mindset around food?
Oh, mindset is such a hard one. Mindset is probably the hardest thing to change. Mindset and consistency, right? The consistency piece really gets us, because we're surrounded by diet culture everywhere we go, whether it's the food store, posters, magazines, commercials on the TV, our doctors. It's all promoting go dairy free, go sugar free, go carb free, all these free things. And when in all reality, it's not really those foods. It's the additives to those foods and the quality of those foods, and where are you sourcing those foods? So honestly, I'm a huge, huge, huge educator. You know that.
I know. And I love that about you.
Education. I love to empower people. But honestly, just explaining to my clients the process of, hey, let's try, would you be willing to try a different source of top quality, and seeing how it works with your body, and either having them experience that benefit, or explaining to them the process of, this is what happens with really processed foods, like breaking everything down. Mindset is just so hard. And unfortunately, it takes a lot of support, consistency, education, encouragement, all of those wonderful things to just break down barriers. I can talk to so many people, but people also have to be willing to be in a place to make change. Unfortunately, most of the time, people are at rock bottom. So when you're at rock bottom, you're way more willing to try things, and you're just more accepting of trying other options. You get to that point. And so unfortunately, and I know this with my health journey,
Yeah, mine too.
You get to that point. Yeah. You just get to that point where you're like, I need to make some change.
Right.
And that change usually comes from adding things in that you never even dreamed you would add. Going outside of the box of what your diet culture tells you, what your doctor tells you, what the whole world tells you to do. And you start exploring for your uniqueness. And it's fabulous. It is a mind-blowing thing once you reach that point of acceptance. Just beautiful.
Yeah. So I currently am still struggling with the mindset over weight gain with this change in lifestyle. So with being post-menopausal, I already was gaining weight. And then when I shifted and I started eating food, obviously I'm going to be gaining weight. I'm eating good quality, healthy foods. I do have ice cream here and there, but I gained a significant amount of weight during this. And that's like one of the most frustrating parts for me. And I'm sure for some of your other clients. And so tell us a little bit about how you encourage me in this area. And my daughter as well. She's like, Mom, don't go back to doing what you were doing.
No, it's and for some weird reason, our culture really slams weight loss. I mean, I can't remember a time growing up where it wasn't about losing the weight. So when you think about this, you're thinking about when you're going back to the root cause, right? Because it's all about the root cause. You're thinking, where did this come from? It is so seeded into our minds, into our lives, into everything that we've possibly known. So weight gain is hard, just in general. In general. But with knowing that you've grown up with this, I need to lose weight mentality, where does that lead someone? And what I've seen most of the time, like almost 99.99% of the time, is women specifically are very, very chronically either restrictive or dieting or going through some sort of crazy diet nutrition thing for long periods of time. And it is very, very stressful on the body. It is a hardcore stress. It's unfortunate, and it's a hard pill to swallow. You're thinking you're doing all the right things when in all reality, you're so not. But that's a stressor. Okay, so your body is naturally going through this chronic stress for 5, 10, 15. I've even spoke to women and they're like 30 plus years of just chronic stress, chronic inflammation. And then when they start implementing these really awesome, sustainable, pro-metabolic lifestyles, then the body just can't snap back into reality or functioning after 20, 30 plus years of being stressed. It has to readjust. And unfortunately, that takes the body going through a healing pounds is what it's called. A transition period is what it's called. And that is the hardest thing. For someone to have to go through while healing, fighting the mindset of I need to lose weight, or, it's all about my jean size. It's all about my number on my scale, all about those things, putting that aside and allowing their bodies to start feeling safe again and to start feeling like it can feel safe enough to tap into the fat cells to use energy and to burn that. You know, that's like you said, it is a hard concept to have to do. It is frustrating. It is. I'm not going to lie. Been there. It is so frustrating. But the results are by far anything you've ever experienced once you get past that point. And unfortunately, sometimes women especially, men got it easy.
Yeah, they do.
Men got it easy. I don't know what they're talking about. But women specifically, we have a longer transition period because our body wants to hold on to that fat. We need safety, and we are not as resilient to stress. So if you think about how chronically someone was stressed before, and then they enter this pro-metabolic transition period, and then the growth period, it's like, have patience with your body. Don't lose hope and fall back into fasting or fall back into malnourishment or restriction. Go strong and allow your body to heal, feel safe enough, and then progress into your sustainability. And honestly, it takes a lot of encouragement, support, having people surrounding you with love and just rocking your life, and honestly reaping in those other benefits like energy and mood and sleep and gut health. And those to me outweigh a number on a scale.
That's what keeps me going, is that I feel so much better.
Amen.
And then go on a shopping spree and buy some new clothes.
Yes.
So for myself, you know, I'm just like, well, I call them grandma pounds because now I'm a new grandma. So I'm like, these are Gigi pounds so that my little granddaughter, you know, can snuggle into me. Right. But it is still very hard. And so that was one of the hardest parts for me. One of the benefits that I've seen is also blood sugar balance. And this is really funny, but after a little while of eating nourishing foods, my husband actually said, you know, you're just so much more enjoyable to be around. And I was like, what do you mean?
What's going on here?
So I'm thinking maybe I was having some blood sugar issues before and a little snappy, but you know, so now I'm like more even keeled. But when I did keto, you know, I had learned that keto helps balance your blood sugar. And there was some other things that I had done that supposedly help with blood sugar, but apparently this really balanced my blood sugar because I feel better and everybody's noticing.
You know, blood sugar is a different thing. We were taught, blood sugar. I love blood sugar. Oh, so much fun. We were taught that, you know, it's all about the spike. Don't raise your blood sugar. Don't raise your blood sugar. And humans have this wild way of just being either hot or cold. There's no balance ever, never ever, which is really frustrating. But the hot would be, I can't spike my blood sugar. I can't do it. So we are so we're like becoming hypoglycemic, you know, and either or of the extreme is a stressor on the body. It all goes back to stress, right? And it's not balancing your blood sugar. So as soon as you balance your blood sugar, your body just has an overall wonderful sense of safety, which is just a foundation in itself, just for health overall and healing. So huge. Especially, I'm so glad to hear you, like, people were noticing that.
Well, I mean, at first I was like, what do I need to know about here?
What's going on here?
How mean was I?
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's good. And then, so let's talk a little bit about gut health, because on your Instagram page, you talk a lot about gut health, and you talk about how pro-metabolic eating helps with your gut. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh, so true. So true. And we kind of touched base on this a little bit, is that, and I like to say, I'm so glad you used the term pro-metabolic eating rather than a pro-metabolic diet.
Right.
Because in all reality, diets don't work. And it's not about diving into a diet. It's more about how can I live a thriving, awesome, rocking my body life? You know, that's what it's really about. But in regards to gut health, one of the core principles of metabolic eating is support, constant, good, nutrient-dense support, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how does that help your gut health? Oh my goodness, in so many ways. So when you're constantly giving your body nourishment from the right sources at a pretty good, consistent time for you and your body and your lifestyle and your health journey, it reduces the stress. And I'm going to be a broken record and talk about stress all the time, but truly, it is all about safety in the body. And so when you're giving your body the right foods, the right nourishment, the right minerals and vitamins consistently, and mapping out your meal timing, all those good things, your body starts to adjust, right? It goes through this adjustment period, and then your body feels safe. Okay. And so safety promotes that blood flow to the digestive tract. And this is one of the things that people really don't understand is when they're stressed, whatever stress it is, shunt blood away from the digestive tract, which then leads to malabsorption issues, constipation, bloat, inflammation, all the digestive issues, right? And hands down, I was working with someone this morning, and when you go through all of the digestive issues, your immediate response is to restrict. It's like, stay away.
I must be sensitive to that, right?
yes, I'm sensitive. I've got all these intolerances. I can't digest. I'm constipated. When in all reality, that is just piling the stress even more. Okay, it is wild. It seems like the right thing to do in the time. But in all honesty, it's not. So supporting digestion by giving the body what it needs to be successful, because ultimately our digestive tract is made up of cells. And each one of those cells needs fuel in order to function. And so when you're not giving that body the right, consistent, quality fuel, it's not going to function. And there are going to be problems. So step number one for gut health is figure out, am I eating enough? What am I eating? Let me dig through the sensitivities or the intolerances and really figure out what's going on there, because more than most times it's not those things. It's deeper, and it truly will. If you dig deep enough, you'll find a hole all the way down to the metabolism. And 9 out of 10, 9.99 out of 10 times my clients, it's all about the metabolism. It's so slow. When you have a slow metabolism, everything slows. Everything slows in the body. So digestion being top dollar one to go first,
Yeah.
And that's the first sign that you'll see with a sluggish metabolism is poor gut health. Very linked together.
Yeah. And when I started working with you, in 2019 had my colon rupture. So I had all of that to deal with. I just was not digesting food well. I wasn't, I just had such a hard time recovering after that. But when I shifted to eating in a pro-metabolic way, I noticed that I was absorbing, I guess, the minerals and the things that I needed. And I noticed that things started working better. And, my bowel movements were better. So now I'm like, I feel normal. I don't have to worry about going anywhere, so it's been really such a positive thing for me all around, which is why I wanted to have you on here to share with everybody. So one of the things that you had me do, which was also transforming, was deep breathing, like before I eat my meal and throughout the day and before I go to bed. And that has helped me so much. But when I first started, I realized I couldn't take a deep breath. I could not.
You and me both.
I was like, I felt like, what is going on here? So it did take some time to learn how to do that and to do it properly. But now it's so relaxing. And when I do that at bedtime, I don't even finish because I fall asleep.
No way.
Yeah. So that's one of the great things that I've incorporated into my lifestyle. So we're almost out of time, but I want to ask you, when you're working with your clients, is there a favorite thing that you like to talk about, or is there something that's like just really, because everything seems to light you on fire, like you are just passionate about the whole thing. Is there one
I could
thing?
go for days about it. Oh, my one thing. Honestly, and this is usually, I love nutrition. I don't know. Have you gotten this yet? Like, just could talk about this for days.
Yep.
Food is my passion. If I can change someone's life, it just, oh my goodness, it makes my whole world, makes my heart, I just am chipper as a bird, it's just so fun. But I love to just, even hands down, nutrition. If I was to really pick something, it would be the nutrition piece that I just am so passionate about. Helping people change food and how they view food and how they manage food and deal with food mentally is so important. It just shines everywhere. And seeing that ripple effect, even just with food and nourishment, is so wonderful. I mean, seeing you guys shine, my clients, that ripple effect is just makes your heart sing, and it's
awesome.
Just beautiful. So if I were to pick something, it would be nutrition. Okay. I'm a foodie myself.
I know you are. I love your Instagram.
Love food
that's
too
awesome.
much. That's just, my health journey too, like where I was coming, how I kind of evolved into this space. And it's just my passion, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So for all of my listeners, you can find Cara on Facebook and Instagram, and she has a website. Yes. I'm going to link everything down in the show notes. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see me share some of her things because she's pretty awesome. She has a beautiful Instagram page, unlike mine, which is all chaotic. And I just like throw things up there, but yours is very aesthetically beautiful.
Thank you.
But most importantly, it's full of really great information. So I just really love to go through and read your post and to watch your little videos that you put up. They're pretty awesome. You're brave. I haven't done that yet.
You know what? I am all about empowering.
Yeah.
Right? I want to share the love. I don't do this for the money. I do this for you guys. And honestly, I'm tired of not living a thriving life, know?
Yeah.
You only have one life to live. And I want everyone to experience the best life they can possibly live. So I'm going to throw freebies out there all the time. I just love that. Love to see you guys shine.
Awesome. You're amazing. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
You too.